of Bhagavad Gita will really help us. So thematic study of Bhagavad Gita is one of the underneath we like bottom line, but the current that is flowing is we wanted to do a systematic study and thematic study of Bhagavad Gita. And to aid that, when we wanted to communicate with for college students and others also, we wanted to take up some modules, modules such as like last time we thought we will take up something on determination, mind control, truthfulness, compassion, like that. So these modules you can prepare on your own and come up and communicate, like basically share it with us, all of us, and so we can become more a devotee and be in this process. So that's the goal. And these themes that we are taking and this study that we are doing, we could do take the from the Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Panchatantra, Niti Shastras, anything for that matter which are from our Shastra, we can take and then elaborate our subject matter. So that's the end goal, and that's what we wanted to do. So today's meeting is more to discuss these 4 topics. And I think Yashoda Mataji is taking truthfulness, and myself compassion, and Lakshmi Narayan Prabhu mind control, and Preeti Mataji determination. So whatever is the order, anybody would like to present their views, and it is not going to be very formal. It will be like a discussion that we can do also. Yeah. Yashoda Mataji, you wanted to get started on the truthfulness topic?
Next, Prabhu.
Okay. Next. Okay, anybody else? Any other topic? That's okay. We can just discuss anything that comes. I did not prepare that much similarly. So, but again, we will start off with something. Slowly, we'll gradually work on the same topic and then come up. Okay. Mataji, Preeti Mataji or Lakshmi Narayan Prabhu, if any of you are ready. If not, I'll get started with the compassion module. What I think, I did not work a lot on this, but again, I would like to give my viewpoint on what is this all about, so that we can, I probably in the next session, I would take it in more detailed way with some kind of a presentation, etc. So I was trying to understand what is compassion. So my topic, whenever I take, I try to see if I can address the fundamental things, then elaborate on that. So what is compassion? Anybody could say what is compassion? What do you think compassion means from your perspective?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yeah, Mataji. Voice is very low.
Can't hear only.
Oh, you cannot hear. Now it is audible for me, whatever you are speaking. Yes, Mataji. How do you define the, what do you say, compassion? Karuna आप जो बोलते हैं ना हिंदी में.
Actually, empathy plus sympathy is equal to compassion, Prabhuji. So where we have sympathy means you say you feel the pain of the other person, but sympathy is you go one step more than that sympathy. You put your foot in that shoes and realize that what can be that suffering and try to solve it out. Compassion is you give a hand and walk together and see to it that they come out of it. For me, sympathy plus empathy is equal to compassion.
Fantastic, Mataji.
Prabhuji, can you hear me? Basically, I am not able to hear you.
Oh, I'm able to hear you.
I'll just again log in, Prabhuji. I'll just cut on.
Yeah. We are able to hear you. Anyways, yeah, others also could add to any other point in this regard. Compassion. It's more like a study group discussion. It is not like a one-way channel. Yeah. चेतन सिंह ठाकुर प्रभु, आप कुछ बोलना चाहेंगे? Yeah, anybody?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, compassion is one of the pillar of dharma Prabhuji. Means karuna. See, actually, what we are following regulative principles. In one of the regulative principle is no meat eating. That is nothing but we are compassionate on other living beings also, because they are also equally, they are also given birth by. Compassion is nothing but birth. क्या बोलते हैं? दया, करुणा एक धर्म का एक पिलर है. इतना मेरा टेक अवे प्रभु जी, और डेप्थ में तो आप ही बताना, आपसे मैं ज्ञान प्राप्त करूंगा.
नहीं, बहुत बढ़िया. So you touched a very important part. The pillar, when you are when not, if you don't take meat and you really have compassion towards the living entities, and वो जागरूक भी होता है. When you stop meat eating, that compassion, that element will come into you. उनको दुख को समझने का आपके पास क्षमता आती है. So any other devotee would like to take first shot? Compassion. Okay, so let's see from if you see as per nectar of devotion. Nectar of devotion says that a person who is unable to bear another's distress is called compassionate. Nectar of devotion says that, you could see Srila Prabhupada was unable to bear the distress what others are going through, and for that he has given his entire life. And if you see what was his mission, and till the end of his last breath, he was just so much he was so compassionate that he just wanted to give. He wanted to see that the suffering of this world is coming to the extent that is possible. He has given everything. So whereas generally people are too focused on their own interests. See, if you are not compassionate, that means your self-interest is there, and you are concerned about yourself, and so that is what Maya is going to influence you. And so now the question is that what are these devotees, Vaishnavas? If you see their quality, are they really compassionate? So that's one thing. And so Vaishnava means they are compassionate people, and they always wanted to serve the Supreme Lord and for Vaishnavas, and wanted to save, as Mataji, Preeti Mataji rightly mentioning, that they wanted to go to that extra step and solve the distress also, not just thinking about it, but they wanted to solve. So that's what it is. And so if you see from Mahabharata also, Bhishma was anxious to see Krishna. When he was on the arrow bed, when he was about to leave, he wanted to see Krishna, and that was his ultimate desire. And thus Krishna appeared upon seeing the pitiable condition of Bhishma, and Krishna started speaking, and he was having tears in his eyes, so compassionate. Just imagine Krishna getting tears in his eyes when seeing the pitiable condition of Bhishma, who was a exalted devotee of Bhishma. So therefore, so we see that Krishna is very compassionate, and so we are also part and parcel of Krishna. So that compassionate nature will also be coming to us when we follow this our Guru Parampara, and when we take up to this process. So if you see this compassionate component, as per our Shastra also, this compassionate nature is represented by Srimati Radharani. So when we pray to Srimati Radharani, Krishna's compassion will also come to us. So because we if you want that, because unless and until that compassionate component is there, the seva bhav jo hum bata rahe hain, so that seva bhav is not going to come. You need to, because if compassion is removed, you are doing it mechanically. वो सेवा भाव में compassion आना चाहिए, and that compassion you will be able to get only when you are seeking that from Srimati Radharani, because she is a representation of compassion. So that's my take with the initial study that I did. But again, anybody could add anything into this regard. Anybody would wanted to add anything? Maybe I've told certain things may not be true. And if you see any, yeah, Mataji.
Just a few points. Everybody has this compassion, but that is limited to certain people, like the selective compassion, if you see. Whereas pure devotee like Srila Prabhupada, his compassion has no boundary. Like he is compassionate to all living beings. So the compassion depends upon to what extent our heart is pure. So the circle goes on expanding. First, we will be compassionate to ourselves only, then to our family, then to our relatives, then to our community, then to our country. Then it goes on to all human beings and all non-human beings and all living beings, like that. So
Yes.
one who is connected to the ultimate source of compassion in a very strong relationship, then that person can really empathize with the pain of every living being, because that person sees every living being in relation with the source of the compassion. That's it from me. Hare Krishna.
Very nice, Mataji. Fantastic. So one doubt I have, Mataji, with my limited knowledge, I'm asking this. Now, when we say that initially we are compassionate about ourselves, slowly to our family, then expand to the nation, again, and all the living entities, where is the starting point and how do we really gradually progress in this aspect? Yes, the holy name will really help us, but is there any other way or any other process that we need to follow so we can develop this compassion? Because if you ask me, whenever we are doing this service, we should have this nature of giving nature. And when compassion is there, then only giving is going to come. If not, our self-interest are more, are getting addressed rather than the other person's distress we are removing. So what is the process and how do we develop this? Yeah, anybody can take Anangasudhar Mataji, you can also address if you can.
Okay. If anybody is ready to answer, they can.
You go ahead, Mataji, first, and after that we can.
Okay, Srila Prabhupada, in Science of Self-Realization, he clearly mentions that compassion for the drowning man. How do we show our compassion for a drowning man? By saving his coat or by saving the person? That he compares with the where our compassion should actually be applied. What level? Like different people have different knowledge, and based on our level of the knowledge of our audience, only we can deliver this message. Like if they are spiritually enlightened persons, people, they are spiritually inclined, then we can connect them with the Supreme Lord, and the ultimate compassion is to connect with the Lord. So they can understand if we say compassion for the soul is the real compassion and much deeper and much long lasting. They can understand. But if the audience are not spiritually inclined, then we really have to show compassion on them first, so that they can understand the message in a proper perspective, and slowly bring them to the level. Then once they are prepared, then they can understand on the soul level. We can connect them easily at emotional level.
Thank you, Mataji. So, what Mataji was mentioning, if I could summarize and understand for myself. So, Mataji was giving a very wonderful example. When somebody is drowning, so what do you do there? You cannot go and preach him saying this and that. So, for a drowning man, if you wanted to save his external garment, it's of no use. You have to save the person. Remove the person from where when he is drowning, giving him a stick or some kind of the thing so that he can come out. So similarly, we need to see in what condition and what state the people are, and then accordingly, based on time, place, and circumstances, we need to adapt, and ultimately giving them the Krishna Gnan, or the instructions what is given in Bhagavad Gita, is what we should aim for, because finally, if you can make him a devotee of Krishna, then everything is taken care. And we are not doing it for keeping the material things in mind, but spiritual aspects in mind, so that they need not come to this material birth again. So that's what Mataji is saying. So any other devotee would like to add anything before we end this discussion for today, for this module called compassion? We can take it up in next week more in depth. Yes.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji. Mataji, you can.
What I understand is your question is how we can develop the compassion.
Yes,
I understood like that. So what I feel is, if we know that we are parts and parcel, everybody is part and parcel of Krishna, then naturally we will get the equal looking for everybody. Just like in Bhagavad Gita, it has told that Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavayastani. Means then we can know that everybody is a soul. Because of their karmas, they got this body and all. So we will treat appropriately. Equally means we will not treat lion and dog in the same manner, but appropriately we will be treating. And we feel that everybody is Krishna's part.
Yeah, we lost year's connection. Probably, is it my end? Is that a problem at Mataji's end, or any problem?
Maybe Mataji's.
Okay. Yeah, Lakshmi Narayan Prabhu, you can proceed. Once Mataji comes, she can.
Okay. Hare Krishna, with Dandavat Pranam to all. So actually, compassionate is a very wonderful quality. So most of the time, it's an inbuilt. To some extent, we have compassionate to other living beings. Suppose a person is suffering from disease or financial debts. Usually we get compassionate and try to help in some way or the other. But the real compassionate is, that means towards spiritual compassionate. What I understand is that one should be spiritually very compassionate. That means Advaita Acharya was so compassionate that even he spiritually was very much exalted. So he was almost literally praying for Lord Vishnu or Krishna, that how I can save these living entities. They are so immersed in materialistic thoughts and enjoyments. They are not taking care of spiritual activities, and they don't know what is real spiritual sciences. So he was in the Ganga Tata, he was praying to Saligrama for the deliverance of the souls. So that is what the real compassionate is there. Even though we are in the spiritual path where we know what is right and what is wrong, we should be compassionate to other living entities also. And we should preach that Krishna consciousness to other living entities. Instead of financially, materialistically being compassionate to that, real compassionate is spiritually we should elevate them. That is what I take away, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Actually, Yashoda Mataji was on the line. Actually, there is some power cut at her hand. So that
Okay.
Yeah, but wonderfully you have mentioned, Prabhu. Advaita Acharya has prayed, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared because of his prayers only. So like that, so we are very much indebted to our Guru Parampara, and Advaita Acharya has. So Krishna is some. They say that he is Bhakta Vatsala, and you can bind him with love, and devotees can bind him, and they can, because he's ready to do anything in that mood when devotees have that nature, compassionate nature. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Any other devotee before we take up to another module? So I think it's half an hour. Yeah, any other devotee would like to add anything? Chetan Singh Prabhu, you wanted to say something, right?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. No, Prabhu. Sometimes in devotion also, when what we come across, how to avoid it, Prabhu. Even means sometimes somebody will form a group saying that no, he belong to some other means Guru Maharaj and some other Shiksha Guru team, and they are compassionate to their own group, Prabhu. They will try to avoid others. So how to overcome this in devotees?
And that was my
Think
question
about
also. That was my question also when I was Anang Sundari Mataji was saying that initially we'll be at this circle and slowly our circle will expand. I don't know how to address that, but probably senior devotees are there. I'll probably take their inputs and then we'll go ahead and have this discussion. Anang Sundari Mataji, do you want to take up that? Is that what should be the perspective when we are showing compassion towards ourselves initially, then go to the next level of our family members, next our community, society, like that. So is that the right approach that we are having these circles, or we should have something, an overarching this thing, and try to handle it at that level, or gradual step by step is the right process? Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, with my little understanding, I'll try to explain. When we love our nation, it's not that we stop loving our family. And when we love the Supreme Lord, it's not that we stop loving ourselves. So it is all inclusive. So as the circumference goes on increasing, our capacity to love and serve is increasing. So along with our family, we are ready to take the responsibility of others. Not that we ignore our family and get hold on to something like
now
so we see that even Srila Prabhupada's life, he used to care for his family even after taking sannyas, even after establishing ISKCON. He used to send money also sometimes, and he used to find out whereabouts. So it is not that they become what do you call that word? Right word?
Indifferent. Indifferent, Mataji.
Radhesham Prabhu. Indifferent, yes. It's not like becoming indifferent. So, yeah, that is how, if we see, I mean, for example, I see my spiritual master. He loves his mother, his father, and his family. And he loves all his disciples. And Maharaj has given one example also. If you see in this material world, we can relate with this little bit, mother's love. If a mother has 10 children, does her love becomes diluted? She loves equally, all of them. So that is how, like, as and when our heart becomes pure and purer, becoming get rid of anarthas, that selfishness decreases, and the more we connect with the Supreme Lord, and we acquire the quality of the Supreme Lord. Actually, the source of this compassion is the Supreme Lord.
Yes,
Because
Mata.
he says, I'm impartial to anybody, everybody.
Yes, Mata.
So he is impartially partial. He is open to all.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji. So addressing Chetan Singh Thakur Prabhu's one of the things that we observe is that sometimes we have seen that sometimes devotees have this groupism mentality. See, this groupism mentality, though they are coming in the spiritual domain, still our previous impressions that we have, the conditioning that we have, is still there, and those impressions are making us behave in the way that we are behaving sometimes. That groupism mentality, or the my guru, my god brothers, my god sisters, this kind of a mentality that is coming is not the right kind of mentality. But because of our previous conditioning, this is still going on. This is not the right approach, and one should really come out of this. And if you are progressing in your spiritual journey, one of the litmus tests is that, are we really expanding, as Mataji rightly mentioning, are we expanding our circles, or are we constraining towards our inner circles? Expansion is where your litmus test, whether you are having your spiritual growth, are we really progressing or not? So Chetan Singh Thakur Prabhu, that is what we think, that it takes time, but be patiently, be with this, and nothing we can do. They have to self-realize, and Krishna is there to take care of that. We are not at that level where we can really go and tell them anything. But yeah, if there is a possibility and they ask, then we can tell. But if not, just be aware that that's not the right approach. Yes, Mataji's, Prabhuji's, thank you very much. So we'll end this module here. We'll take up the next module, and we will increase our discussion in the next session, because I myself have to go through this module, and a couple of you also can take up other modules. Yeah, thank you. Any other devotee would like to add anything to conclude?
Prabhuji, Yashoda Mataji is back, Prabhuji.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Yashoda Mataji, you can put your views, what you are saying, and then we'll conclude.
About compassion, we can close, Prabhu. Then
No,
we
you
can.
go ahead, Mataji. You were saying something on that, and suddenly we.
Yeah. Suddenly power cut at our side. So we have to treat everybody in. If we know that part and parcel, we will treat them with compassion, and then we will be having compassion, and we will try to bring them up from the level. So this is what I understood.
Yes, Mataji. Thank you very much, Mataji. Can you go with the next module, Mataji? Your module.
Yes. If everybody is convenient, can I tell in Telugu, Prabhu?
Any language, Mataji. Any language, no problem.
ఓకే, అంటే తెలుగు అంటే కొంచెం మనస్ఫూర్తిగా చెప్పొచ్చు అన్న ఉద్దేశంతో తెలుగులో అని అనుకుంటున్నాను. నేను ఇవాళ తీసుకున్న, ఫస్ట్ ఆఫ్ ఆల్ అందరికీ ధన్యవాదాలు, నాకు ఈ సబ్జెక్ట్ ఇచ్చినందుకు, ఈ అవకాశం ఇచ్చినందుకు. ఏంటంటే నేను చెప్పదలుచుకున్నది ఏంటంటే సత్యం గురించి, ట్రూత్ఫుల్నెస్ అన్నమాట. సత్యం అంటే ఏంటి? నిజం అంటే ఎప్పటికీ నిలిచి ఉండేది. మనకు తెలుగులో కూడా సామెత ఉంది, నిజం నిలకడ మీద తెలుస్తుంది అని చెప్పేసి అని. అంటే మనం ఇమీడియట్ గా ఏదైనా చూడంగానే మనకి కరెక్ట్ గా సత్యం అని అనిపించకపోవచ్చు, కానీ అన్ని మనం ఎంక్వైరీ చేసిన తర్వాత అసలైన సత్యం ఏంటి అనేది తెలుస్తుంది అనమాట. అంటే అదేంటంటే నిజం అంటే ఎప్పటికీ నిలిచి ఉండేది, అది ఎప్పటికీ పోనిది అని చెప్పేసి అని అర్థం అనమాట నిజం అంటే. అయితే ఇది అంటే ఏంటంటే ఈ సత్యం పలకడము, ఇచ్చిన మాట నిలబెట్టుకోవడము, మాట ఇవ్వడం, దాన్ని నిలబెట్టుకోవడం కోసం ప్రాణంగా పెట్టిన వాళ్ళు కూడా మనకు ఎందరో మంది తెలుసు మన పురాణాల నుంచి. మేము చిన్నప్పుడు సెకండ్ క్లాస్ లో ఉన్నప్పుడు, ఇది ఇప్పుడు ఉండకపోవచ్చు, సెకండ్ క్లాస్ లో ఉన్నప్పుడు గాంధీజీ గురించి ఒక కథ ఉండేది అనమాట, ఒక పాఠ్యం ఉండేది మాకు. అదేంటంటే గాంధీజీ సెకండ్ క్లాస్ లో చదువుతుంటాడు, అయితే ఇన్విజిలేషన్కి వస్తారు ఒక అధికారి. ఇన్విజిలేషన్కి వచ్చినప్పుడు ఈ గాంధీకి తెలియదు అనమాట. ఎగ్జామ్ పెడితే ఆ టెస్ట్లో రాయడానికి ఆయనకి తెలియకుండా పోతుంది, రాయకుండా కూర్చుంటాడు. కూర్చుంటే ఆయన క్లాస్ టీచరే ఏం చెప్తాడు, సంజ్ఞ చేస్తాడు అనమాట. నువ్వు వేరే వాళ్ళ దగ్గర నుంచి కాపీని కొట్టి రాయి అన్నట్టుగా సంజ్ఞ చేస్తాడు. ఆ సంజ్ఞ చేసినా కూడా గాంధీజీ ఏంటంటే కాపీని కొట్టకుండా దానికి సమాధానం రాయడం అనమాట. మళ్ళీ ఉపాధ్యాయుడు అడిగినప్పుడు చెప్తాడనమాట, మీరే కదా ప్రభు, మీరే కదా టీచర్ సత్యం పలకాలని చెప్పారు. సత్యం నేను నేర్చుకోలేదు కాబట్టి నేను వేరే దాంట్లో కాపీ కొట్టడం నాకు ధర్మం కాదనుకున్నాను, ఇది నేను సత్యము అని చెప్పేసి అని ఆయన చెప్తాడనమాట. అది చిన్నప్పుడు మాకు ఒక కథ ఉండేది, ఆ పాఠ్యాంశం ఉండేది, అది గాంధీ గురించి. ఆ తర్వాత మనం ఇంకా పురాణాలకు పోతే సత్యహరిశ్చంద్రుడు ఉన్నాడు. సత్యహరిశ్చంద్రుడు విశ్వామిత్రుడికి ఇచ్చిన మాట కోసం ఏం చేస్తాడంటే నిలువెత్తు ధనం ఇస్తానని చెప్పేసి అని ఒక పోటీలో విశ్వామిత్రుడికి చెప్తాడనమాట. అందుకని చెప్పి ఆయన తన విశ్వామిత్రుడు నిలువెత్తు ధనం ఇవ్వాలని కోసం ఆయన రాజ్యాన్ని వదిలేసి పిల్లలతో ఊరొదిలి వెళ్ళిపోతాడనమాట. వెళ్ళిపోతూ ఉంటే ఆయన టెస్ట్ చేయడం కోసం ఆయనకు చాలా కష్టాలు అనేవి వస్తాయి. అయినప్పటికీ కూడా ఆయన ఇచ్చిన మాట నిలబెట్టుకొని ఆఖరికి పెళ్ళాన్ని కూడా అమ్ముకుంటాడు. పెళ్ళాన్ని అమ్ముకొని ఆఖరికి ఇంకా కాటికాపరిలాగా అయ్యి ఆ విధంగా ఆయనకి ఎన్నో టెస్టులు పెట్టినా కూడా ఆయన సత్యం మీద మాట మీద నిలబడతాడు అనమాట. సత్యహరిశ్చంద్రుడు ఎవరు అంటే మన రాముడి వంశంలో వచ్చిన చాలా ముందు ఆయన సత్యహరిశ్చంద్రుడు. తర్వాత మన ఇంకా శివ చక్రవర్తి కూడా ఉంటుంది. శివ చక్రవర్తి ఇచ్చిన మాట కోసం ఒక పావురానికి పావురం యొక్క మాంసంతో ఒక పావురము దేగ కోసం పోతుంటుంది అనమాట. అయితే ఆ పావురాన్ని రక్షించడం కోసం దేగని ఆయన వదిలేస్తే అయితే మరి నీ ప్రాణం ఇవ్వు అని చెప్పేసి అని అంటుంది అనమాట పావురం. అంటే ఓకే అంటే ఆ డేగ యొక్క మాంసం ఎంతైతే ఉందో అంత ఈక్వలెంట్ అమౌంట్ ఈయన ఇవ్వాలన్నమాట. ఈయన మొత్తం కూర్చున్నా కూడా అది సరిపోదన్నమాట. అంటే ఆయన రెడీ అయిపోతాడు, ఓకే నన్ను మొత్తంగా నన్ను తినేసినా పర్వాలేదు అని చెప్పేసి అని అంటాడు అన్నమాట శివ చక్రవర్తి. ఆ విధంగా మనకి ఎన్నో పురాణాల్లో ఉన్నాయి ఏంటంటే సత్యానికి చాలా నిలబడ్డట్టు అనమాట. సరే, ఇవన్నీ తీసుకుంటే ఏంటంటే ఇవన్నీ భౌతికంగా సత్యం, నిజము, నిలబడ్డము. కానీ సత్యం అంటే ఏంటి అంటే మనకు నిరాకారవాదులు చెప్తుంటారు బ్రహ్మ సత్యం జగన్మిథ్య అని. బ్రహ్మ సత్యం అంటే బ్రహ్మ అయితే సత్యం, అది అందరూ ఒప్పుకునేది. జగన్మిథ్య అనేది మనకు అది కరెక్ట్ కాదు, అది ఇప్పుడు డిస్కషన్ కాదు. ఏంటంటే బ్రహ్మ సత్యం అన్నమాట, దేవదేవుడు అనేదే సత్యము. దేవాది దేవుడు పరమ సత్యం దేవాది దేవుడే అని భగవద్గీతలో కూడా కృష్ణుడు చెప్తాడు అనమాట. ఏంటంటే దేవుడే పరమ సత్యం అంటే ఎప్పటికీ నిలిచి ఉండేదన్నమాట. అది ఎప్పుడు మారదు, ఏ కాలమైనా కూడా మారదు, నిలిచి ఉంటుంది. ఆ సత్యం కోసమే అనేక దశలు ఉన్నాయి. అందులో బ్రహ్మేతి పరమాత్మేతి వదంతి తత్వం యత్ జ్ఞానం అద్వయం బ్రహ్మేతి పరమాత్మేతి భగవానితి శబ్దతి. అంటే వేదాంత వేదులు 3 దశలుగా ఆయన సత్యాన్ని కనుక్కోవడం కోసం బ్రహ్మ రూపంలో నిరాకారవాదులు, పరమాత్మ రూపంలో యోగులు, తర్వాత భక్తులేమో భగవానుడు అని చెప్పేసి ఆయన ఆ దశలలో ఆయన అన్వేషిస్తూ ఉంటారన్నమాట. అయితే ఈ సత్యం గురించి భగవద్గీతలో కూడా 16వ అధ్యాయంలో ఆయన దైవీ సంపదలు ఆసురీ సంపదల గురించి కృష్ణుడు చెప్తారు. అందులో ఒకటి ఏంటంటే సత్యం అన్నమాట. సత్యము అహింస ఇవన్నీ ఉండాలి, ఇవన్నీ దైవీ సంపద అంటే దేవతలకు ఉండవలసిన సంపదలు అని చెప్పి కృష్ణుడు చెప్తాడు అన్నమాట. అయితే ఒక క్వశ్చన్ అరైజ్ అవుతుంది మనకి, మరి ఈ సత్యమే పలకాలి అంటే మరి సరే మహామహులు అంటే వాళ్ళ ప్రాణాలు తెగించి చేసుకున్నారు, కానీ ఇప్పటి కాలంలో అది సాధ్యమా? ఇప్పటి కాలంలో సాధ్యమా మనం సత్యమే పలకచ్చా అని ఒక చిన్న స్టోరీ చెప్తాను. ఒక మహర్షి ధ్యానంలో కూర్చొని ఉంటాడు. కూర్చొని ఉంటే ఒక వ్యక్తిని తరుపుకుంటూ కొంత సైనికులు వస్తారన్నమాట, రాజభటులు వస్తే ఈ తరుముతున్న వ్యక్తి ఈయన ఆశ్రమానికి వెళ్ళి దూరిపోతాడు. ఆ విషయం చూస్తాడు మహర్షి, అలాగే ధ్యానంలో ఉంటాడు అనమాట. వెనక నుంచి భటులు వచ్చి ఆయన అడుగుతారు, స్వామి ఇక్కడ నుంచి ఒక వ్యక్తి పోయినాడు వెళ్ళాడు చూసావా అని చెప్పి అడుగుతాడు అనమాట. అంటే ఆయన చూశాను అని చెప్తే ఆ వ్యక్తికి ద్రోహం చేసినట్టు అవుతుంది. చూడలేదు అంటే అసత్యం పలికినట్టు అవుతుంది. అప్పుడు ఆయన ఏం చేయాలి? ఆయన ఏం చెప్తాడంటే ఆలోచించి, చూచే కళ్ళు చెప్పలేవు, చెప్పే నోరు చూడలేదు అని చెప్పి అంటాడు అనమాట. వాళ్ళు ఎన్నిసార్లు అడిగినా ఇదే చెప్తుంటాడు అనమాట. చూచే కళ్ళు చెప్పలేవు, చెప్పే నీరు చూడలేదు అని చెప్పి. వాళ్ళకి అర్థం కాక ఈయన ఏదో మహర్షి ఏదో ధ్యానంలో ఉన్నాడులే అనుకొని వెళ్ళిపోతాడు అనమాట. అట్లా ఆ విధంగా ఏంటంటే చాకచక్యంగా తప్పించుకోవచ్చు. అంటే ఈ కాలం ప్రకారం మనం ప్రాణాలకు తెగించి చేస్తే ఇంకా ఎవరు అనేది సత్యం అనేది నిలబడుతుంది, కానీ మనం బతుకులనే ఉండవు. కాబట్టి చాకచక్యంతో మన తెలివితో మనం ఇది చేసుకోవచ్చు అనమాట. అట్లా ఈ సత్యం కోసము పరమసత్యమైన దేవాది దేవుడే ఈ సత్యం భక్తుల మాటలు నిలబెట్టడం కోసము ఆయన ఏం చేశారంటే, ప్రహ్లాద్ మనకు వచ్చేది ఇప్పుడు నరసింహ జయంతి. ప్రహ్లాదుని మాట నిలబెట్టడం కోసం నరసింహ అవతారం అనేది తీసుకున్నాడు అనమాట. యాక్చువల్గా నరసింహ అవతారం ఎందుకు అంటే హిరణ్యకశిపుని చంపడానికి అని చెప్పేసి అని మామూలుగా మనం చెప్పేసుకుంటాం. కానీ ఏంటంటే హిరణ్యకశిపుని చంపడానికి కోసం ఆయన రావాల్సిన అవసరం లేదు యాక్చువల్గా చెప్పాలంటే. కానీ ఏంటంటే ప్రహ్లాదుడు చాలా నమ్మకంగా తండ్రి అడుగుతాడు, ఎక్కడున్నాడు నీ విష్ణువు అని అడిగితే, ఇందుగలడు అందు లేడని సందేహం వలదు, చక్రి సర్వోపగతుండు, ఎందెందు వెతికి చూసినా అందందే కలడు, దానవాగ్రణి వింటే అని అన్నాడు అనమాట. దానవాగ్రణి అంటే దానవులలో అగ్రగణ్యుడా, నువ్వు గన వినదలుచుకుంటే చూడదలుచుకుంటే ఏ ప్లేసులలో ఉన్నాడు, ఎక్కడైనా ఉన్నాడు అని కంఠాపదంగా చెప్తాడు అన్నమాట. ప్రహ్లాదుడు ఆ విధంగా చెప్పాడు కాబట్టి ఇప్పుడు నరసింహస్వామి ఏం చేయాలి? ఆయన మాట నిజం చేయాలి. అందుకని చెప్పి ఆచార్యులు చెప్తారు కొందరు, నరసింహ అవతారం రోజు, నరసింహ చతుర్దశి రోజు ఆయన ప్రతి చెట్టు ప్రతి ఒక్క వస్తువులో దాగి ఉంటాడట నరసింహస్వామి. ఆయన ఎందుకు అంటే ఆ దానవుడు ఎక్కడ వేలు చెప్తాడో చెప్పలేము. ఆ స్తంభానికి పెడతాడో, చెట్టుకు పెడతాడో, ఇంక దేనికైనా చూపించి ఎక్కడన్నా ఉన్నాడా అని అనొచ్చు. అందుకని చెప్పి ప్రతి చోట ఆయన వచ్చి కూర్చున్నాడు అని చెప్పి కొందరు ఆచార్యులు ఉటంకిస్తారనమాట. అట్లా అయితే స్తంభాన్ని చూపించాడు, స్తంభంలోంచి నరమానుష విగ్రహం వచ్చింది, ఆయన అంతం అనేది జరిగింది అనుకోండి. ఇది ఎట్లా అంటే ఇప్పుడు పూర్వకాలంలో ఊర్లలో స్తంభాలు ఉండేవి. పల్లెటూర్లలో మా తాతగారు చేసినప్పుడు నరసింహ చతుర్దశి స్తంభానికి నామాలు పెట్టి మేము చేసేవాళ్ళం అన్నమాట నరసింహ జయంతి. అంటే మా తాతగారు అట్లా స్తంభంలో వచ్చారు కాబట్టి స్తంభానికి చేసేవారు. ఇప్పుడు ఈ కాలంలో మనకి స్తంభాలు అవి లేవు కాబట్టి మా అమ్మ వాళ్ళు ఎలా చేసేవారు అంటే గడపలకు, ద్వారాలకు, తలుపులకి నామం పెట్టి ఆయన నరసింహస్వామి అందులో ఉంటారు అని చెప్పేసి వాటికి పూజిస్తామన్నమాట. ఇలా ఎందుకు అంటే మా పెద్దవాళ్ళు ఇంకో కథ చెప్పారు, ప్రతి వస్తువులో ఆయన నరసింహస్వామి ఉంటాడు ఆ రోజు అని. అందుకని చెప్పేసి ఇది చెప్తున్నాను అనమాట. మనం అన్ని వస్తువుల్లో నరసింహస్వామిని ఆ రోజు చూడొచ్చు. ఇట్లా ఈ విధంగా సత్యం చేయడం కోసం, ప్రహ్లాదుని మాట నిజం చేయడం కోసం నరసింహస్వామి అవతరించాడు. ఇంకా సైంధవుడిని చంపుతాను అని అర్జునుడు అభిమన్యుని చంపేయడం కోసం అభిమన్యుడు చనిపోయిన తర్వాత అందులో సైంధవుడు కూడా ఒక భాగం అభిమన్యుడు చనిపోవడానికి. అందుకని ఈ సైంధవుని చంపుతానని, సూర్యాస్తమయంలోగా చంపుతాను, లేకపోతే నేను అదేమో అగ్నిలో ఆహుతి చేసుకుంటాను నా ప్రాణాలని అని అర్జునుడు ప్రతిజ్ఞ చేస్తాడనమాట. ప్రతిజ్ఞ చేసినాక ఈయన భక్తుడు మాట నిజం చెయ్యాలి. కానీ అందుకని చెప్పేసి ఏం చేస్తాడంటే తన చక్రాన్ని అడ్డుపెట్టి, అంటే ఇంకా సూర్యాస్తమం కాకముందే కృష్ణుడు తన చక్రాన్ని సూర్యునికి అడ్డు పెట్టేసి అర్జున ఎదుగో సూర్యాస్తమం అయింది, ఇంకా నువ్వు ఆయన చంపవచ్చు అని చెప్పేసి చెప్తాడు అనమాట. అంటే అప్పుడు సైంధవుడు బయటకు వస్తాడు, సూర్యాస్తమం అయిపోయింది అనుకొని. అప్పుడు అర్జునుడు ఇది చేస్తారనమాట. ఈ విధంగా ఎన్నో కథలు తీసుకుంటే మనకు సత్యం కోసం భగవంతుడు ఎన్ని విధాలుగా చేశారని కూడా తెలుస్తుంది అనమాట. ఆయనే ఏమన్నాడు, కృష్ణుడు ఏమన్నాడు, కౌంతేయ ప్రతిజాని తమే భక్త ప్రణశ్యతి. కౌంతేయ నువ్వు చెప్పు అని అన్నాడు. నువ్వు చెప్పు ఏమని, నా భక్తుడు ఎప్పుడూ నశించడు, నా భక్తుడు నశించడని నువ్వు చెప్పు అని అన్నాడు. ఎందుకు అంటే కృష్ణుడే కానీ చెప్పాడు అంటే ఆయన ఇలా భక్తుల కోసం తన మాట తప్పే అవకాశం ఉంటుందన్నమాట. అందుకని అర్జున నువ్వు చెప్పు అని చెప్పేసి అర్జునుడిని చెప్తాడనమాట. ఈ విధంగా ఎన్నో చూసుకోవచ్చు, కొన్ని మాత్రమే నేను తీసుకున్నాను. ఇంకొకటి ఏంటంటే లాస్ట్కి ఈ పరమసత్యమైన దేవాది దేవుడు చెప్పిన మాట ఒకటి ఏంటంటే, సత్యం సత్యం పునఃసత్యం సత్యమేవ పునః వినా రాధా ప్రదే మత్ప్రసాద నా విద్యతే. ఆ సత్యమైన దేవుడు ఏం చెప్తున్నాడంటే రాధాదేవిని ఆరాధించకుండా నా ప్రసాదం అనేది, నా కరుణ అనేది దొరకదు. అంటే మనం రాధాదేవిని కూడా ప్రార్థించాలి. అంటే ఎప్పుడు కూడా మనం సీతారాముల్ని కలిసి ప్రార్థించాలి. లక్ష్మీనారాయణని, సీతారాముల్ని, రాధాకృష్ణుల్ని ఒక్కరేగా ఎప్పుడు కూడా ప్రార్థన చేయకూడదు అనమాట. అంటే చాలా తప్పుడు నోషన్ ఉంది. ఏంటంటే వరలక్ష్మి వ్రతానికి ఒక్క లక్ష్మీ విగ్రహాన్ని మాత్రమే పెట్టి అందరూ పూజ చేస్తుంటారు, కానీ అది చాలా తప్పు. లక్ష్మీనారాయణ ఇద్దరిని కలిపి పూజ చేయాలన్నమాట. ఇది దేవుడు చెప్పిన మాట. ఇంతటితో ముగిస్తున్నాను. హరే కృష్ణ. థ్యాంక్స్.
హరే కృష్ణ మాతాజీ, అద్భుతంగా మీరు ఈ టాపిక్ సత్యం గురించి చెప్పారు. సో ఎనీ డివోటీ హ్యాస్ ఎనీ క్వశ్చన్స్ దట్ యూ వాంటెడ్ టు ask or you wanted to reveal in this regard? Any questions, comments? Yeah, Chetan Singh Thakur, go ahead. Yeah, Chetan Singh Thakur Prabhu, after that other devotee, maybe Preeti Mataji. Yeah, Chetan Singh Thakur Prabhu.
Prabhuji, Mataji oka chinna.
You are muted, Prabhu.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, you can ask Prabhu now. Some technical issue, huh? I don't know. Okay, Mataji, before Prabhuji comes up.
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु.
हाँ, अभी सुनाई दे रहा है प्रभु. Go ahead.
हाँ, माताजी నా ప్రశ్న సింపుల్ ప్రశ్న మాతాజీ. నేను ఇప్పుడు అడ్వకేట్ కదా మాతాజీ, కృష్ణ కాన్షియస్ లో వచ్చా. మళ్ళీ ఇప్పుడు నేను సత్యం మీద ఎలా అంటే హౌ కెన్ ఐ ఎలా నేను బ్యాలెన్స్ చేయాలి డివోషనల్ లైఫ్ లో?
డివోషనల్ గా అంటే మనకు అదే ఋషి ఎలాగైతే చెప్పారో ఆ విధంగా మనం ఏంటంటే చాకచక్యంగా తప్పించుకొని, అంటే ఇప్పుడు మన న్యాయ రీతిలో పోతూ ఉంటే మనకు న్యాయమో అనిపించింది తప్పకుండా న్యాయమే చెప్తాం మనం. ఇప్పుడు అన్యాయం చేద్దామో అనుకున్నప్పుడే కదా అబద్ధం చెప్పాల్సిన అవసరం వస్తుంది. అన్యాయం చేయకూడదు అన్న ఉద్దేశం మనకుంటే మనం న్యాయంగానే మాట్లాడతాం. కాబట్టి అబద్ధం చెప్పాల్సిన అవసరం లేదు అని నా ఉద్దేశం. అందులో మీరు కృష్ణ కాన్షియస్ లో ఉన్నారు కాబట్టి మీరు తప్పకుండా ఎప్పుడు నిజమే అంటే ఐ మీన్ సాంఘికంగా భౌతికంగా ఏది నిజం అని అనిపిస్తుందో అది చెప్తే మనకు ప్రాబ్లం సాల్వ్ అవుతుంది అన్నమాట అని నేను అనుకుంటున్నాను.
సో యాక్చువల్లీ ఇఫ్ how we should take up, I have my thoughts. I am not yet concretely clear on this, but to address Chetan Singh Thakur Prabhu's question, he is saying that he is in the advocate kind of his profession, wherein you have to take the client side. The client may be wrong, but still you have to argue and justify that he is correct. So where is that you are balancing and you are supporting the truth? Suppose a situation may come that murder has happened, so he killed somebody, and you have to defend that kind of person that he has not killed. You need to make him innocent or non-guilty. So what do we do in this kind of situation? Because the client comes to you and asks this. My first and foremost thing in this regard, again, I am also pursuing law, but this is a question for me also. Now, the question is that we need to ask a why question. What is the purpose of your life? I know I'm going and dragging this question. See, so basically, they say that there are three things. Right, we all know that sambandha, abhideya, prayojana. See, the prayojana for any matter, for that aspect, for anything that you are trying to solve, and for any question that you have, you can address this by these things. Prayojana, what is my end in mind? What is my goal in life? that if it is clear, then the rest of the two things. So what is this prayojana? So prayojana, we know the purpose is about why we do what we do. So whatever you are doing, your advocate position, you need to ask yourself, why am I doing this? What is my higher principle in this? If you are not standing for that higher principle, then neither you will be happy, neither you will be justifying yourself, neither the clients will be. So you need to take up only things what is, when your why is clear. If not, don't take it. Anything that will come, if you take it up, then what is the good? My take again, I'm not professing anything, neither eligible to give anything. But again, if I apply to myself, I will ask myself, what is the purpose? Why do we do what we do? The prayojana part should be very, very clear. Then comes values are very important. And how do we achieve this purpose is through values. Manaki mana jeevithamlo values kuda undali. Values in Telugu emantaru Mataji? Values.
నైతిక విలువలు.
ఈ నైతిక విలువలు, values kuda chala important. These values are how we achieve our ultimate goal. Is what through values only you can be able to drive it. But again, prayojana should be clear. Then the sambandha, which is what we are talking about, how to achieve those highest, the principles that we are talking about, the purpose through sambandha. The values plays a very important role. And the last one, which is abhideya. So the abhideya part is actual execution. That execution, whatever you are going to do, it is basically with some kind of a good habits that you have cultivated, having the right kind of a mindset and association of the devotees. All this will help. So in a nutshell, what I am trying to say is that you should be clear about your ultimate goal of your profession. What is my ultimate goal? What is the prayojana for that? And is it matching with if my why is matching to what I am doing or not? And what is the kind of process that I am using while I am doing that is also very important. So I think this is what my take is. Chetan Singh Thakur Prabhu, you can have any follow-up questions or any other thing that you wanted to share with us. Yeah, any other devotee would like to add anything to this? I think we are very close to our time today. So 4 more minutes. Yeah, Lakshmi Narayan Prabhu. Yeah, Preeti Mata.
Yeah, in 2 lines, there are 2, absolute truth and relative truth. So relative truth changes based on time, place, circumstance, but absolute truth remains same, unchanged. And in any yuga you may take, absolute truth is absolute.
How does that relate to the discussion that we have here, Mataji? Is it an add-on point to what Yashoda Mataji said?
So if the relative truth is serving the purpose of absolute truth, that's in alignment with the absolute truth.
Okay.
We are in the right path.
So we will discuss in detail about this relative truth and absolute truth. Another topic, another day, because we need to explain what is this and how does it relate. Thank you, Mataji.
Krishna himself asked Yudhishthir Maharaj, somebody typed in the chat, to Yudhishthir Maharaj is a truthfulness personified, and Krishna asks truth personified to lie. So that is to serve the higher purpose. So if we sometimes devotees also have to be diplomatic to serve the higher purpose.
Got it, Mataji. So what you are saying is that the prayojana part, your purpose should be very clear. What is that your ending goal? And if these things are aligning to that, then it is good. And your purpose is what is very important. That's what you are saying. It is the absolute truth. And the relative truths should map to that. Is that correct, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, thank you, Mataji. Preeti Mataji, you wanted to say anything?
Follow-up question for the same thing. If we say that relative truth is there and we have to, as situation says, so we have to alter the truth or sometimes. So that is what is happening in the society. They will tell only the half truth. Maybe the lawyers or the builders or the developers, the society has become like that now, Prabhuji. Then the real or absolute truth doesn't remain. See, if when we are talking of Mahabharata where Krishna had that absolute truth, or he was doing the war for the dharma. So where he had told Yudhishthira also to lie, and many of the circumstances were there where he had initially said he will not leave the weapon, though he did, or for that matter, killing of karma and many other things. But that's another perspective of it. That was an absolute truth. But here people, routine people, not devotees or anybody, to survive in this Kali Yuga, many people lie down for their own good purpose and get away with it. Or they tell the half truth. And that is what we call it a very shrewd way or chalu way of doing it. So how about it then, Prabhuji?
So,
is it okay, or that will come under relative truth?
So basically, Mataji, the absolute truth in one way, what we are saying is that you take that circumstance whichever you are in. Sometimes you may not map everything to Krishna's vision, but at least for yourself, ask what is that why, the purpose for that activity that you have taken up, what is the higher purpose for that? So if suppose you are in the medical profession, what is the higher purpose for your medical profession? Is it just for your own making some good amount of money and for your own, or is there a compassionate element that you wanted to serve them? Or to next level is that through your profession you wanted to make some devotees with your compassion? See, each and every person has to work in their own sphere, and but again have a higher purpose in whatever activity that you are doing. If you bring the purpose to your level of sense gratification and for your own selfishness, then we are not moving ahead. So you are not really called leader. A leader is a person who puts his self-interest aside and thinks about others' elevation. So that's what generally we see that, right? Yeah. So yes, I think we are done with our time today. Wonderful topic we discussed, truthfulness and compassion. More in one way, we are also having some relationship with compassion and truthfulness, as Mataji rightly mentioned. So any other final remarks, final takeaway points anybody would like to bring? Or any?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Prabhuji, yes, Hare Krishna. Okay, Prabhuji, continue, Prabhu. Continue.
Okay.
Just before Mahabharata war started, Prabhuji, the rules were what Pandavas, from Pandava's side, Krishna says, or Drishtadyumna says, we will not break the rules. Whatever rules were laid just before the beginning of the war, we will not break first. But if others break, then we have to. Like if the other person is crook, you have to save yourself. So that is where when you are in the professional field, especially this law, it comes, Prabhuji.
So one thing, Mataji, the point here for our driving point is that we are not making breaking the rules just because the other party has broken the rules. The tit for tat attitude is not the right approach. Let me complete, Mataji. So the tit for tat meaning other person is crooked, so I am also crooked. But what I am saying is that you yourself, so you are dictated by the other party. But what as devotees, as people who are leaders, as exemplaries, you should have your own why, your own purpose for whatever activity you are doing, and stand to that, stick to that. So not just because anybody can alter our purpose, right? So that's the that's the way we need to start seeing. That's my takeaway. I'm not trying to reimpose on this. So final takeaways from other devotees also, and we'll close today because beyond the stipulated time. Yeah, yes, ma. Thank you, Mataji. Thank you, Anangan Sundar Mata. Thank you. Yes, Lakshmi Narayan Prabhu and Chetan Singh Thakur Prabhu next, and we'll close.
Yes, Prabhu. Actually, truth is two aspects, Prabhu. One, believing in what is truth, and second, telling truth. Actually, both are very difficult, but second one is very difficult. One small example, when I was in Vrindavan, when I was in 5 years back, one senior devotee called me, tell me what is the best way to go back to Godhead. I told, because of my parents' blessings, I told by chanting the Hare Krishna. How many rounds he asked? 16 rounds routinely. Who told you 16 rounds? I was searching from where to quote the 16 rounds. By chanting 16 rounds, you will go back to Godhead. And after some time, he told, it was spoken by Srila Prabhupada. So what Acharya says, it will happen. So basically, it is very hard to believe that, but ultimately nowadays, very unfortunate that many people are not having any spiritual background. They feel very hard to believe in Shastras. So they really believe, is it really happened? Is it really this or this? So one, we need to believe in what is truth, and we have to definitely believe in Shastras, Prabhuji. And second, speaking always truth is also very difficult. I think, suppose, for example, a shopkeeper is there. You want to buy something, you want to buy some book or some cloth. Definitely, you would say, this is the cost of this, this is around 1,000. But actually, he knows what the exact cost of it. But in one way, we can tell that no, he's telling truth. He's telling lies, actually. But in one way, it is acceptable because its profession is like that. So I think it's a very thin line. So actually, we know Paramatma resides in every person, exactly what we are doing, what is truth and what is wrong. So we ourselves know. So I think in professional life, according to our professional limitations, to some extent is acceptable. But suppose the same shopkeeper says, no, the cost of this cloth is, instead of telling 200, if he says 2,000, it's exaggerated. Definitely it becomes out of the boundaries. So that is not acceptable. So that is what I believe, according to these professional issues.
Yes,
thank you very much.
Yes, Prabhuji. So you put the right thing for us to understand also. Actually, in our Shastras, it is mentioned that when you are doing some vyapar, vanijyam, so some amount of telling lies is allowed. As per Shastra also, telling some amount of lies is allowed. But again, as you mentioned, it should not cross that certain limits and becoming into a cheating kind of a propensity, because profession, sometimes there is some amount of balance we need to make to deal with that profession. Yes, thank you, Prabhu. That's correct. Don't be like a person who is adamant about certain things. If you are based on the time, place, circumstance, you need to adapt. And that adaptation should not be going beyond a certain limit as per the norm. And always, whether it's in the norm or not, always try to seek opinion of some other elderly person. In earlier days also, always these vyaparis also used to work under somebody's direction. How do they know what to tell, what not to tell? They have been guided properly. So nowadays, nobody is there to guide, neither these people are interested to get the guidance. So when we have somebody's higher authority under whom we are working, then it is all good. And that person, if he is a good person, and he will guide us properly. Yes, thank you, Mother Prabhuji. Chetan Singh Thakur Prabhu. Are you there? Yeah, yes, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, no, Prabhu. Everything perfect, Prabhu. Very excellent class, Prabhu. Very excellent.
Thank you, Prabhu. Preeti Mataji, last, you can give your views and then we.
Last tagline, Prabhuji, if you go to Tirupati, Prabhuji, on Saturdays and Sundays, the maximum inflow is from Bombay and Delhi, from all the Vyaparis, and Johari Bazaar jewelers will be there. So whole week they do all the mistakes where they are allowed according to Shastra, if you are saying, and then they put
all the crores of rupees in the hundi to nullify that, Prabhuji. On a very lighter note, I'm telling you, but this happens in Tirupati. So you say all mistakes are forgiven. God, I'm giving you diamonds and just so all Johari Bazaar jewelers go, because I know few of them very closely. So they fly every Saturday, Sunday, put crores of rupees in the hundi, and God nullifies their papas.
Yes, Mataji. But again, we should take examples, or our idols, ideal are devotees. How they, if you see on our Radha Yatra, whenever a Radha is taken for profession, like procession, so there is one devotee there. What's the devotee name? Anybody remembers? He's a Jayananda Prabhu. So
Jayananda Prabhu.
Srila Prabhupada was so much impressed by the contribution of Jayananda Prabhu, you cannot even imagine. So he said his photograph should be there in each and every Ratha that is going. Menial service he did. So similarly, if you put crores of rupees in the hundi also, Krishna is not going to be seeing you. Just for your own satisfaction, just to cover up your papa, you are thinking that you can compensate by giving donation. That mentality is not the right mentality. Why should you do all that and then do it? Today morning we were discussing about the offenses, wherein the offense says that committing sins on the strength of the chanting. So this is similar to that. You are saying that I am going to do all nonsense, and end of the day I am getting some pious credit, and because of that my whatever sinful things I am doing will be nullified. That's not correct. So this is same thing as Srila Prabhupada mentioning that all the week you do all nonsense, and Sunday you come and go to the church and say that Father, I committed this mistake, so please forgive me. And he'll put some money there and it is over. Not like that. So we should know what is our role, what is our responsibility, and whether the masses are doing whatever way, we don't care. So we have our parampara, we have our leaders, our Vaishnavas, whom we need to follow. And under their direction only we will follow what we are supposed to follow. So this society might bring so many things for us to follow, but we should not do. We should stand for something in our life. If you don't stand for something in our life, we will fall for everything. So Vaishnava means he need to stand for something. When how do we cultivate? By disciplining ourselves, saying that I will do 16 rounds of chanting early in the morning. I'll wake up and do it. I'll read the scriptures. I'll follow Ekadasi. I'll follow this. I'll do this seva. So this is all strengthening that you are standing for something. When you cultivate and you start standing for something, automatically in your day-to-day activities, whatever activity, whether it is professional or family, this will percolate. And this will start seeing the results in there also. Spiritual activities which we are doing will percolate into other activities, and you can see transformation in the others. So, yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji, Mataji, for your wonderful discussion. Please forgive me if I have crossed my limits and spoken anything. And I am ready to correct myself, whatever is you can reveal.
Prabhuji, నేను ఒకటి చెప్పేటప్పుడు వార్ గురించి చెప్పినప్పుడు I didn't mean that we should in retaliation we should break the law. Just to save ourselves from that, Srila Prabhupada said, the cheater can cheat you when you are ready to be cheated. Why so many bogus gurus are there? Because the disciples, they want to be cheated.
Absolutely.
So if we come to know that the other person is a crook, then we have to save ourselves. Then for that we may have to be diplomatic. This is what I meant to say, Prabhupada.
Definitely. Yes, Mataji. But again, the principles for which you stand is what is very important when dealing with that kind of people. You cannot become a crook just because the other person has become a crook. But you need to stand such that that fellow will not influence you and take advantage of you. So that you cannot become a doormat. anybody comes and scratches like that. Yes, Mataji, we need to, that's what is our, this is not Buddhism that we are talking about. This is, Bhagavad Gita spoke about stand for something. Krishna said, I don't want to waste this war because of this reason. No, Krishna said, you have to stand for something. What is that you need to stand for? That is what is made clear in Bhagavad Gita. So
you will have to be very strong when you stand for something. You will have to be, because Drona, Karna, they were all killed not on in a fair way, but that was justified there.
Yes, Mataji. Yes, Mataji.
Sometimes we have strong. That is what I meant to say.
So thank you very much, Mataji. We are cutting short. There's so much to discuss, but 8 o'clock we should stop next time. But again, we had to take it a little further. Thank you very much, Mataji, Prabhuji. Wonderful discussion we had, wonderful revelations, and we'll continue to have this discussion. Whether it is going in the right direction or not, slowly we'll get adapted to it, and something will, fruitful things will come out. Right now, let's go in this fashion of doing discussion. So yeah, next week other devotees can take up the other topics. So the other 2 topics are there. Others can also prepare on the other 2 topics that are there. Preeti Mataji and Lakshmi Narayan Prabhu will speak on the other 2 topics, and we'll all contribute as the way we contributed today. Thank you very much, Mataji. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Brand ki jai. Dandavat pranam to all of you. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Dandavat pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.